Hi, Luminaires. How is everyone out there? My name is Jamie Butler. If you're new to the channel, hi, welcome. I'm the Everyday Medium. My passion is taking the woo-woo, that kind of intuitive, psychic, spiritual, outside of the box stuff, and making it more digestible, normalizing it. So normalizing the metaphysical. For me, it's not woo-woo, it's true, which you probably hear me say quite a bit. And for those of you who wanted t-shirts and merch with the quote, I finally got that up and running over on Teespring. So you can go over there and buy some really funky gear that just kind of shows where you stand, where your belief systems are. It's not woo, it's true. Hi, everybody. I thought today, oh, look at that. Danny Marie says, happy solstice, everyone. That's a lovely happy solstice. So today I thought I would talk a little bit about building relationships with your loved ones in spirit. It is the biggest request in my sessions. I still do one-on-one readings. I do 30 minutes and an hour. I don't do a lot of them these days. My passion is more aligned towards teaching people about it and how to do this for themselves. But, like the number one top request is my loved one there? Whether that is my parent, my child, my aunt, my cousin, my grandmother who raised me, my best friend when I was little. They want to know, and maybe this is true for you as well, you want to know if they're okay. You want to actually continue the relationship. But our culture, especially here in America, United States, if you are elsewhere, it is slightly different. But United States likes to say, when you have transitioned, you are gone. Like, we don't have a big support or tradition or kind of belief system around transitioning a loved one. I know there's not this ancestral connection. It's kind of ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Let's move on. We don't even have it built into our culture that when someone transitions, it's totally acceptable to start talking about them. In our culture, we feel awkward about it. And if you have come across that and you want to share some of your awkward moments in our chat thread, I would love to hear about it. Because it is that way. Like, even, if it was a child of yours, or let's say your mother, and it's more acceptable, right, for people who are older than you to transition before you. Those who are younger than you, it's almost not acceptable. Like, we definitely can't talk about it then because it's an unspeakable, but it does not need to be an unspeakable anymore. Let's stop this, please. It is, oh God, I can say so many words. I just don't want to shred it up so much, but it is, what do I want to say? Disrespectful. It's painful that in my own culture that I cannot speak about the one who has transitioned. Like, that's not acceptable. Like, let's quit this. We have emotions that need to be held. They need to be seen. It's got to be okay to talk about it. So I put together a series. It's a 10-week series. Sometimes when I'm developing my class material, I'm like, I want 26 weeks with these people, like with students, to like really get into the sensitivities of energy. So I did my best. I kept it down to 10 weeks. And it is about building that relationship with your loved one. And it does talk about and help you focus on that one person or animal companion or guide or angel that you have known, and you want to deepen that relationship. Do you want to continue the relationship? But in our culture in the United States, there's nothing in our language or our belief systems or our main religions that say, oh, after your loved one has transitioned, here's how to carry on with them. Here's how to still have them in your life. We are fully a 3D kind of a culture where if the physical body's not there, then obviously the person's not there. But guys, we've proven again and again and again that statement is not true. Science has caught on and can tell you that statement is not true. We have measured like I was in on measuring the atoms, and I was not. But quantum physics has come in and clearly acknowledged how the we can get really deep here, but the physical body does not contain the energy. The energy lives within the physical body. So we can save that talk for another day. What I want to talk about is, how do you continue that relationship with that energetic body? I mean, that's the number one request in my sessions. As I mentioned, people call in, how are they? And it's just so wonderful to be in my position and translating the conversation. It's like me being in the middle is the spark of keeping that relationship together. I have some absolutely wonderful clients. I can call them clients. To me, they feel like family now, that I've been working with for years. And I actually have 3 positions open. I don't have it on my website right now. So if you're listening to this and you're interested, you just have to send an email and send the email to info@jamiebutlermedium.com. But I have 3 positions open that if you want to meet monthly, then for a reduced price, you stay on the calendar for the whole year and you get a session every month. And I have these families that meet, and they do this to bring their child or sometimes children in, their parents, their grandparents. And once a month, I get to be a part of their family and watch how their relationship develops and grows. And I have to tell you, it is so touching. Like, I hang up the phone sometimes and I just sit there with a smile on my face. It's so beautiful to hear the excitement in both parties wanting to share information. Now, some people aren't interested in learning how to directly communicate with their loved ones. Maybe it's, who knows why, it could be just too much of a stretch in their own belief system, or sometimes people believe that they're not capable of doing it. Right? It's still considered strange, outside of the box, a little woo, but they'll want somebody to do it for them. So that's the position of the medium. But there's a majority of you out there that are like, I'm so ready for this. I want this. And I would love to sit down when I have my coffee in the morning and communicate with my husband who transitioned 3 years ago, or communicate with my mother. Or when I'm baking my banana bread or sewing, I get to communicate to my grandmother as I'm doing these tasks, because those are the very things that she taught me. That last one was personal. um, so for those of you, I have a little bit of a cough. Hold on. Thank you. For those of you who are interested in learning that yourselves, and you could be a beginner intuitive or a beginner psychic, or even way down the path where you are hearing messages from the disembodied, from your spirit guides, but you're not getting a hold of that one. Please come. Welcome to the series. Come to the series, Building a New Relationship with a Loved One. I would love to have you there, because what I do is I take the time to simplify it and direct all of your intuitive abilities, your sensitivities. We have so many sensitivities. We just don't slow down and talk about them enough to really acknowledge them. And because they're just so subtle and light, we step over them all the time. So I slow you down a little bit. You can acknowledge those sensitivities and then recognize conversation is happening. Conversation, not just communicating. I know that some of us are really, really good at asking yes and no questions and hearing back from spirit. Yes, no. And some of us are really good at getting a few sentences or just sensing that they're around, and it just puts a smile on your face, or it feels elusive. You get into it and then it disappears, vanishes, kind of like our aha moments. You're like, all of a sudden I'm downloading information and I feel great, and then it's kind of gone. So this series is about sustaining that connection, having longevity so that you can have a conversation. It's not just a communication blip here and there, and you kind of fill in the pieces because it feels like Swiss cheese a little bit with a lot of holes. It's more of getting it together and having a conversation. You speak, you receive, you speak, you receive, and it's a tennis match now. And all of a sudden it feels more, and I'm going to say it this way because we are humans, it feels more like you're used to, which is one of the things I like to unravel when we talk about conversations with spirit. It is, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same of like what we're doing right now or what you do in person with someone else. It's slightly different. And once you acknowledge that difference, it's like riding a bike. Once you get a hold of that balance and throwing your weight alternatively onto the pedals to stay upright, you're good to go. Just like this. Once you figure out that balance, it's like a touch and go. Then all of a sudden you can stay upright and you can have conversation. I would love to assist you on this. Okay, I'm going to check in to see if you guys wrote down any of those strange, weird things where your culture says, oh, someone has transitioned. We can't talk about them anymore. And now we have the holidays coming up. So I'm sure this is fresh in us wanting to connect this way to our loved ones. Amora says, I was looking for Christmas cookies at the store the other day and realized I was looking for my grandma's cookies. I miss her and them so much. Oh, Lorene Elizabeth made the best Christmas cookies ever. Yes. Oh God, the food they would make. Our loved ones. Oh my great grandmother could make a sugar cookie, or it was like a butter cookie. And at the end, before they were baked, she would take her knife, or sorry, her fork, and flip it over and make these like tracks in the cookie. That cookie was so good. Mm. It's like that taste is gone. Nobody makes them. Judy is even agreeing. Yes, I bought pecan pie because my mom and my grandma loved it. Oh, Jamie, yes, even conversations with our animal companion. Like, I still think about my cat that, I'm just going to say it because my human head goes, oh, if you talk about this, this is really weird because it was such a short relationship and it was a cat. So, no, my cat was with me for 2 years. We were glued together. It was just like he lived on the side of my face. He was just amazing and he went everywhere. And then he was gone. And it's like my heart has a hole over my animal companion. And if that's whom you want to talk to, that is what we will focus on in building a new relationship with your loved one. Loved one doesn't necessarily mean that person that was in your life that transitioned. It could be that it is your grandfather that you've never met, your birth mother that you never met, but you know that they're in spirit. And then we will direct that energy to create like a phone line so you can dial each other and hang out and talk. Oh, more, they were sugar cookies too? Oh, but she put a thick frosting and sprinkles. Oh my gosh, how much fun. Mishka says full moon is on December 27th in Europe and on December 26th in America. Well, December 27th is going to be a very special time here with us on YouTube. If you are a member of my YouTube channel, I'm going to be doing a vision board / kind of like life mapping to help you focus on 2024. And on that day, I'm going to give out a really big, deep discount on my series, 33% off of this class that we're actually talking about. Okay, this is full circle of this series, as well as perceiving and reading energy, as well as approaching trance channeling and my compassionate communication series. That's 6 weeks long. So if you are interested and it's on your mind that next year is when you're going to get a little bit deeper with your own abilities, but you would like a deeper discount, join me over on YouTube or here, but in my membership, and get your discount codes. When you're part of the member, I offer all kinds of exclusive content, special healings and meditations. And I also offer like 10% off of everything that I do. But this is a deeper discount because it's the beginning of the year and I want you guys to just say, yes, I've wanted to do it. What's stopping me now? Like, let's go. Let's do this. Okay. So yes, that's going to be on the 27th. That was weird. Okay. First Christmas for me and my mom, says Leanne. Me and my mom friends that took in a young man in need due to substance abuse and family trauma since birth, who transitioned in November. He was only 18. It's so young. We're all so young all the time. Some things, I'm going to pause here. Some things I've heard in my readings to families to help integrate that conversation. Like, let's talk about those who can't be with us on this holiday. Let's name them. Let's speak about them, and not speak out of like about them out of grief and missing and longing and yearning, but in honoring and, in bringing them in. And one of the neatest things I've heard from Spirit was to get a journal, like one of those large sketchbooks, and grab a handful of photographs. They could be from any time frame with that person in it that you're honoring, or that animal that you're honoring, and tape it one to a page. And then send the book around during the holidays, like while you're gathering. And if you get the book, you open it up and it's a picture and you're like, I know what's going on there. You write your story about what's happening in the picture, about what that person was doing at that time and how old they were and where they were and whatnot. And then you pass it along. So there might be 5 or 6 people that know about that one photograph, and you have 5 or 6 perspectives and stories about that picture. You start doing this every holiday, every year, then all of a sudden you've got this book of these sensational stories and life experiences about the one person. And then it becomes a book you pass around, and you go back and you flip and you read the stories, and it makes you laugh. And then you can turn to your family members and go, oh my God, page 23, this photograph, do you remember this? I totally forgot about it. And it sparks conversation. And it's a conversation that your loved one in spirit can be a part of. They, hit that ring. They feel it, they hear it. Anytime you speak their name, it's like sending a text message, an instant message, and it just arrives to them. There's no separation. We create the separation through our belief systems. And of course, we believed in what our culture taught us: ashes to ashes, dust to dust, move on. Put your blinders on. If your heart is sad, that's on you. We're not going to talk about it. Sounds like a very cruel world. It kind of is. It kind of is. Oh, Colleen says, I love watching the growth of the students during the course. It's incredible. I've had a few occasions brought to tears, just so darn excited when a student comes in and goes, I have something to share at the beginning of class. I spoke with my brother. I spoke with my sister. I spoke with my mom. And it was undoubtedly, unquestionably them. And I answered back and they responded back. And it was a conversation. It's so magical being in conversation. And I think we take it for granted. We talk all the time and we share all the time. And it's like to have that from the beyond is, amazing. Judy says, my mom is coming through after 9 years. She's coming through younger and joyful. It will be great to get to know this version of my mom better. That's another thing. So if you're taking this practice on yourself and you're like, oh, I don't really want, to take a series, or I don't want to commit to it, or whatever the reasoning is, I support you and whatever reasoning you're saying. I will tell you, if you're working on this by yourself, one of the biggest keys is to stay neutral. And you think, I can do that. I can breathe. I can get grounded. Okay, that's fine. I want you to stay neutral, though. So that means that who you were in relationship to that person, that angel, that guide, that animal companion, whether you were the mom, the sister, the brother, you have to look at that relationship and you've got to clear it out, because you're not going to be able to connect from who you were when you knew each other when you were alive. It's a different version of you that does the connecting. So staying neutral, not labeling your loved one in spirit a mother, a father, a this or that. So when you reach out and connect to them, and we have all these practices in the series, it is about stripping them down without labels and seeing them for who they are, not who they are to you, and not based on your memories. You got to let your memories stay where they are. We're creating new ones. So if you keep hauling up who they were and how they used to laugh and what they used to know and what they used to like and used to do to define them, you're going to make it a very difficult journey to have that new relationship with them where they are. Right? It takes a little while, but you can totally do it. Sheldon shares, My sister channeled my grandma. Oh my God, my grandma threw and now mastered her gingerbread cookies. I love them so much. It's such great memories sitting on dad's lap, eating these cookies and dipping them in coffee. As a kid, you would do gingerbread and coffee. What a sophisticated palate. That is such a sweet memory, Sheldon. Cheryl says, I so relate to you about the missing the cat. Oh, I think of the loss of my Liddy every day. See, wouldn't that, instead of us doing all the missing and the grieving and the longing, what if we took that time and energy that we put out there towards that expression and put it towards building a new relationship with them? It's still connecting to them, but it's giving so much more possibility and outcome and connection and joy. Hi, Holland. Will we learn in the class also to help us communicate with our guides and interdimensionals support team? Just curious. You will by proxy, absolutely. But in the series, I'm going to get you really to focus on one entity. Pick one entity because we're going to build something around that. I'm not going to share what it is because it's for class as it tickles my throat. So you're going to pick one entity, but you're going to find, like I had several people in class who picked one entity and then came back and goes, I was reaching out to my mom, but my grandfather came through and I knew it was my grandfather. And he came right on in the same way that I've been building with my mom and started talking. It was actually his sister, and the grandfather came in. So yes, the technique that you build and the muscles that you get from learning how to stay neutral, not label, connect in a new relationship venue at a higher frequency, you can duplicate, duplicate, duplicate all across the board and just repeat. But I think it's easier as humans that we pick one and focus on one because it can get really overwhelming. I mean, Holland, how many beautiful spirits and angels and multidimensionals are out there supporting you? A lot, a lot. Excuse me. I tried to mute that. Um, oh, Kiara, are you ready for that vision board time? Man, we should come together for the vision board and also everybody bring your recipes from from all of our ancestors that have carried on and we can keep their recipes alive. So yes, if you want to have the deeper discount on the series, there's 33% off and I give you the code during the vision board class. And the vision board life mapping class is going to be for our YouTube members, any tier. But I'd love for you to check it out because it's one of my favorite things. I spend a lot of time on YouTube, and every month I do a healing or a meditation. Meditation would be like edited and uploaded, so you could download it and keep it. I also do 2 book club sessions. And then the next tier, it is all of that. And we do Maitland's deep dive and also Grace's class. Holy cow, Grace's class last week, it was about timelines. Apparently, it was so intense, we have to do a part 2. We've got to come back and do it again. And you're engaging. You're welcome to ask questions about the topic. So you could ask all the questions about timelines and how that works. So it helps. It definitely helps me when I get to engage in spirit and talk about the topic rather than just sitting and listening, because a lot of questions pop up for me while I'm learning. And then the next tier is all of that. Plus, I have a healers, channelers support group. So I come on and we talk about what's going on. We get really deep in our shares and how does that affect our work. And we talk about self-value and receiving money and price points. Then we also have a Q&A where I'm trans-channeling and you can ask your personal, global, or universal questions. So those are the exclusives I kind of offer over on the YouTube, and it's just a small fixed monthly fee, a little bit higher for each tier. But I also do these vision board classes or gatherings once a season. So if you join me at the end of December, we'll also be meeting somewhere March, April, and then somewhere in the summer, somewhere in the fall, and then we prep to come in to do it again for 2025. Oh my God, that's crazy. Oh, Sheldon says, we sometimes leave a spot at the table open for our loved ones on big holidays. That is also a really great suggestion. Do you make the plates too? I know in some cultures, it's so sweet. They will serve a plate. And in some cultures, you don't eat that food. The food stays there, and then the food goes to the earth. And then some cultures, you make the plate, and then you are expected to eat that food as well. So you eat it on behalf of your loved ones. What was Leanne saying? Oh, I must have missed it. But Leanne was sharing that someone connected with his biological mom before his passing, and he said he was proud she's in rehab and loves her. His adopted parents erased him due to the cause of death. We are moms. We moms are now connected with her. Yes, you are continuing the story of the lovely soul that you took in, or that your family and friends took in. And so I love all of this. Kara says, I will skip this time, but next time you're doing this, I'm so doing this. All right, Kara. Oh, because your loss is too fresh. So you want some space. You want to be more neutral. I understand that. Absolutely. Gregor says, can you connect to the person through memories you have of them? Yes and no. Though, yes, I'm going to say this in two different ways. So if Gregor, you were the one who was going through the memories, you're like, I'm going to actively go get some pictures and look at the pictures and go down memory lane and kind of conjure them up. Go, hey, where are you? Come back to, I miss this. I see this. I miss this. Where are you? Let's talk. Yeah, you can absolutely make connection. But what I find that limiting point is that through your memories, you unknowingly create an expectation of them to behave like who they were. And they've changed. I mean, they've gone through a life-changing situation. They've transitioned. They know more. They experience it different. They're going to be slightly different. They're still them. They still have their like core personality and that laugh and that sense of humor, but they know more and they react differently. You know, I haven't found it to be super drastic. Some of those super drastic examples I can come up with or that I've seen are those when they were living, they were quite cruel. I had the opportunity to reunite a daughter and her father. She did not come to talk to her father. She came to speak to somebody else, but her father came in. And her father was just like, listen, I want to speak. I'm sorry. I love you. I am sorry. And he just went into this speech about he admitted he physically abused her and he understood why that happened. And he was not seeking her forgiveness of him. He was seeking for her to forgive, like for herself. He would have been fine to be the bad guy forever and ever until she transitions, but he had healed from it and he could see what was occurring. And his language he had was very different than the language, he last had. He shared he was in jail. He served time for it. He shared that he loved her. And these were all things she wasn't coming to the session for. But he jumped in and she finally told me, you have to stop this. Like, I don't want to hear this anymore. I'll never speak to that man. And, she says, I'm going to get up and I'm going to leave. And he was like, no, 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 no. I'll leave. And so you can see how that, personality was quite different. He was in spirit, guys, if I was confusing. So he left the session in spirit and she got to speak to whom she wanted to, but you can see those differences. But if you just go through your memories of the person, you're kind of capping off who they are and how they're going to react to you. Now, the other way I said I'd say it in two ways. If you are not seeking to call up any memories, Gregor, you're just like driving the car. And you're not thinking about your loved one at all. You're like just trying to stay alive in this crazy traffic out here. And you're all of a sudden it's like, bam, you get a memory of, no, you didn't hit anything. I'm just saying a memory comes in. Bing. There you go. That's a better sound effect. Bing. And you get a memory of them. And you're like, that's funny. Why am I thinking about them now? That's so weird. I'm pretending driving. This is really funny. And you're curious, like, why am I thinking of them? This is odd. Okay, that's not from you. That is them using a memory to get your attention. I've heard of spirit kind of knocking on the door, pushing the doorbell through, activating your memories of them, getting a kick out of it, and then they come in with a message. So, in that scenario, a memory is assisting a connection. But often if it's driven by you, you're holding those same characteristics, personalities, and expectations of them. So that can lessen the connection. I hope that helped and wasn't confusing. Tina says, I've always thought thinking of them in the ways we knew made an easy connection, but letting those feelings stay where they were makes sense for a new relationship. Thank you. You're very welcome. And it's definitely something to learn, because we've been taught all the time, like, remember when? Remember when? Let's reconnect with our memories and then get back into it. Remember when? And when we stop doing that, we definitely leave a bigger field of possibility. Thanks for the hearts, guys. Oh, Kiara, that's so sweet. She says, if you're not a member, I highly recommend that. It helps me grow so much, not just as a medium, but also as a person. And for that, I'm very grateful. Kiara, thank you. I see you. I wish I could hug your neck. Cara says, is it possible to connect with someone who crossed over very recently, 2 months ago? Yes. Yes, it is. Now, there are some occasions where entities just don't communicate for whatever reason. They're healing themselves. They need, I don't know, alone time. But then again, guys, what is time? What is time? The 2 months that you're experiencing is not the 2 months that your loved one's experiencing. That could be a whole lifetime for them. So they have the time to do the healing. It's really you that's holding on to time frames. So with that being said, if you're picking that person, and you come to class and you have a concern, it's recent, I'm not certain, we'll talk about time and we'll talk about all the possibilities of why this works. So it helps your belief system and your, definitions of linear time. Yeah. Judy says, I love our community here. I learn so much and always feel so supported. I love you, Judy. Sheldon, going back to the food, you don't put food on your plate when you leave it out for your loved ones? You just have to decide what's going to happen to the food. Are you going to eat it? Or is somebody else eating it? Or are you giving it to the earth? Oh, Amy, thank you. She says, I'm so grateful for you, Jamie, and I can't wait to jump into this class. To connect with your brother. Yay! We had a brother in our last class, one or two, one, and he was absolutely funny, like such a brother. And what happens during the class is I invite them, who you're connecting to, I invite them to come in. So you get feedback. I know it's nuts, but you'll get feedback on kind of what's working. But I don't share the whole story because the purpose is for you to build that muscle. But it is nice to have them come in and they are part of the conversation and part of how I'm teaching. And we kind of pause every now and then and check in. And I just enjoy it because not only do I get to meet you, I get to meet your loved ones or your angel, your guides, multidimensionals. Judy says, as a YouTube member, there is a book club. Oh, yeah. When I tell people that sometimes we have conversations with authors in spirit, it blows people's minds. I love it. I love it too. I told someone the other day, but yeah, when we talk to the author about it, they're like, wait, that author is not living. I go, I know, but you understand like what I do for a living. I was like, some of the members were like, bring them in. And I thought that makes a lot of sense. And we brought them in and they participate in the conversation. It was great. I mean, you guys have great ideas. We co-create some really big magic. Okay. You're welcome, Gregor. Hi, Dragon Spirit. Is there such a thing as going into the wrong light and being Reincarnated. Does this trap exist? I have not heard of it. That doesn't mean that it's not real. I'll just say that. But and speaking with Grace, an entity that I like to work with, and if you're in the community, you've probably seen her or spoke to her. I also trans channel her. That sounds like really weird when I say that out loud. But she talks about assisting people in reincarnation or being incarnated. And if, I'll just say this, if there is a trap that throws you back into reincarnation, what is the trap for? Who designed the trap? Is the trap to judge, praise, to punish? Like just the concept of there being a system where you lose your autonomy, in my perspective, does not make sense. Let's just talk to some spirits for a second. Grace agrees. She said the concept of the trap was created to help people sustain integrity and grow morals. It's part of the reward punishment system, she says. And the majority of people on earth govern their behaviors through a reward and punishment system. So if you are not being your best version in this incarnation, then part of your punishment is that you'll be thrown back in to continue. She said it also stems off of the word karma. Thank you. I hope that helped. Sometimes I have to close my eyes to really listen to her. She has the softest, sweetest voice. Yeah, Cynthia, Dolores Cannon came. Hi, oh gosh. Damyan? Is it a soft J or a Damjan? Re, what is the simplest way to connect with loved ones? Very simplest way. I might resort to calling a spirit for that response. For me, the simplest way is that moment before you fall asleep. You're already in an altered state of consciousness at that point. You're in the hypnagogic state. So you don't have to put yourself into an altered state. You don't have to put yourself into a meditative state. You're naturally doing it. So that's easy. It's just staying a little bit more awake. And I would say before you go to bed, look at the picture of the loved one that you want to communicate with. Direct your thoughts towards them. Look at how they are, not what they did or who they were to you. Look at how they dress, how they laugh, who they are. Don't go down memory lane. Just look at the picture. Set it down. Go to sleep. Then when you go to sleep, I mean, there's all kinds of practices. It's actually part of homework and the building a new relationship. We talk about the hypnagogic state and how to stretch it out. So you'll lay there in bed, will yourself to go to sleep, but also stay alert. So there's just a little bit of a trick there. And then in that flash of time, that could be between 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Sometimes people hold on to it for 6 to 10 minutes. The ability to communicate to loved ones at that time is very open. Your subconscious is rising to the surface and your consciousness is falling away. And so you have this altered state. You've directed your mental thoughts towards the one person. I suggest asking one question. And at the beginning, leave it to a yes or no. It could be something like, are you with me? Do you visit me every day? So just pick one. Like, what is it? Yes or no? And then as you're falling asleep, you'll receive the message. I hope that helps. Van Twinkle, can you choose your higher self as the person you want to connect to for the class? Would that even make any sense? It's pretty intense, and it does make sense. Yeah. And yes, you can. I know it sounds crazy, right? Like you're in two places at once, but you're in lots of places at one time, not just higher self and you. You have all these other incarnations that are occurring at once. So yes. Gregor says, I once channeled one sentence once only. It is not the darkness itself, but the echoes of the darkness that we listen to. I was in my voice in my head, but it was not me. This was many years ago. That is exactly what it's like, Gregor. That's exactly what it's like. Dragon Spirit. Thank you, Jamie. That was just a story like Father Christmas and his naughty nice list. Yes, it is. Purple Dove. I'm so enjoying these like handles you have. My name is Donna. Hi, Donna. My question is, why do I so often feel like I'm not here? No one can answer this question. I can be doing many daily routine activities and feel very far, far away from my body. Donna, I can immediately think of like a half a dozen reasons. um, Donna, when you're highly sensitive, so that's kind of like a blanket statement. When you are an HSP, highly sensitive person, I don't know if you've looked at that definition online. If you haven't, please do and see if it resonates with you. When you use your traditional five senses in a heightened way, you often are using more of a intuitive, psychic, these are just words we all know, gut instinct, clairvoyant, clairsentient, claircognizant, clairaudient, clair abilities. And when we're doing that, those abilities don't necessarily rest within a very 3D body experience. They're in a heightened awareness, slightly different, altered dimension. Fourth, fifth dimension. It's like the difference of when you are washing the dishes versus, oh my gosh, my tongue is like gotten weird. Versus, so you're washing the dishes, looking at the dishes, washing the dishes, seeing the soap, doing the thing, your dishes. But then it's different. Like, say if you're washing the dishes, but you're daydreaming and you've checked out and you are just in this world, this, and when I win $1 million, I'm gonna, get a rabbit, and then I'm gonna, and you just like go off into this, and all of a sudden you're done doing the dishes, and you're like, wait, how long was that? Like, I had a lot of dishes to do, but you zoned out. That is a very basic, simple expression of you not being in your body, but your body operating. We have so many levels of altered states of consciousness that we can access. Sometimes people do it willy-nilly, very free, very easy. And sometimes people struggle with it. So to carry on a conversation, to be more precise, I would love to know. It might not be today because I'm about to jump off, but it might be nice to know, like, how do you operate your altered states of consciousness? When are you using them? Are they being triggered by something? Are they layering on top of certain emotions or certain activities? Is it when you are in a certain location? So many, parts of the equation come together for the outcome. So it would be really nice to just keep a little note, like a pen and paper, of what are you doing? What were you thinking? What were you feeling? And start seeing what is matching up when you recognize that you don't feel connected to your body. There's also a term I like to use called spiritual depression. It's when people really have a lot of connections. Some of us have memories of the afterlife, heaven, that home place, not here, but home. And when we have lots of connections to it, it's really difficult to be human because you have these sometimes memories, sometimes feelings, sensations, and it's like you come to earth with a different measuring stick. Everybody gets the human one that's this big, and everybody walks around and go, you? Yeah, that matches up. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's great. Let's measure this. Oh, great. Yeah, we all understand it. But then there's those of you who came in a little bit more sensitive and more connected to home, heaven, afterlife, and your measuring stick is like this. And you come in and you're trying to compare, analyze, and contrast with the humans that have this one and you have this one, and don't make no sense. It makes no sense. And you're just like, why are people so mean? Like, what is this about? This is nuts. So, we have to look at, did you come in with a totally different measuring stick? You have more connections to an altered state of consciousness in a different dimension. There's just so many reasons. So you can have fun checking that out. Mishka says, I would love to join and connect my twin flame who transitioned in 2020. Oh, that sounds like a beautiful relationship. I would love to help that grow. Leanne said, would Madeline be like your inner child? Do you mean Maitland? Would Maitland be like your inner child? Do you two have connections from the past? We actually don't have connections from the past. I met her through my teacher. She is a guide of mine, but we don't have incarnations together. I feel like Grace and I would somewhere along the line, but I haven't really gotten into it. I'd like to connect my inner child and or first mother from thousands of years ago. I know, then you're gonna have to pick. I would absolutely direct you to pick, because inner child can be a little bit more confusing if you were trying to just specifically talk to inner child. Inner child can be a part of all of your incarnations, each differently. Because as you embody a new incarnation, you have a new inner child with it, but you always have the same higher consciousness. Hope that made sense. Like opened up another can of worms. Jamie Bailey goes, yep, that's me. Being human and feeling home all the time is difficult. And Jamie came in with that measuring stick that looks like this, really big. It's so much that it's overwhelming. I came in with a huge measuring stick. She's laughing. Oh, Dragon Spirit goes, that's must be why I feel like I want to go home every day. I know, but isn't it something beautiful to have that longing, to know that there's something bigger, greater there waiting for you? Can you imagine the strength that took you, both of you, Jamie, to come into Earth and leave that behind, knowing that it still exists? Think about the amount of courage and strength, bravery, purpose, that gives to me when I hear these statements. I don't treasure my life. I want to leave it. I want to go. Even though that's what you're feeling, I hear, damn, you have a big purpose. You made a big decision when you came here. Like, you are doing something memorable. So thank you for incarnating into this timeline so that I could be in your orbit. The rest of you, thank you so much for hanging and chatting about building new relationships. I hope you've enjoyed some of the tips, staying neutral, ditching the memories, focusing on like who they are now and getting to learn the newness. If you would love to join me, please do. We're starting up January 2nd over on Learn It Live. They are recorded. If you cannot show up live, it is recorded and you can come and watch the recording and you can submit questions that I will respond to and answer. So we'll still stay in touch, no worries. And you keep the classes forever because it's in your Learn It Live library. And if you want that big discount, come join us here on YouTube membership and get 33% off on the 27th. It's going to be a 24-hour coupon. You can do it, guys. Hope to see you for the vision board, life mapping, and happy holidays for whatever you're celebrating. To whomever you are with, may it be absolutely what you wish to co-create. As Grace likes to remind me, choose happiness. Choose it. It's an action. Put it to use. All right, everybody. Remember, this is not woo-woo. It's true. Be well, and thank you so much. Take care. Bye, everyone.